It's 10 o'clock.
Hey family, it's me, Queenie Brown. Thank you for joining me for Thank God It's Financial Freedom Fridays. I am bringing you a quick question. What is the number one secret on the path to wealth? Well, if you're wondering, me and the Kingsmen are going to open you up to a whole new realm of possibility. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Queenie Brown. Let me bring the Kingsmen on. I'm your host, and I have my two gentlemen counterparts, Mr. Dwayne Taylor and Mr. Donovan Yarbo, joining. And today we're going to talk about the number one secret that you need to learn on which is the key to building wealth. So, gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. I'm excited about the topic today, and I know you guys are too. We want to keep it simple and keep it brief. But we want to get down to the nitty gritty, right? We want to help our family understand how important it is to shift our mindset so that we can move into the realm of wealth, especially in critical and crucial times like the ones that we are living in right now. So, guys,
Yes.
let's start the conversation.
Over to you, Mr.
Ah,
Yarbo.
I'll gladly start it off. Yes, thank you for that wonderful introduction as always, Miss Queenie Brown. It's always a pleasure to be here on Fridays for Financial Freedom Fridays with Queenie and the Kingsman. And to get the conversation started again, we're keeping it simple. And I mean, I think during our pre-show, we're talking about, it being a secret. And the reason that it's a secret, like Mr. Taylor shared, is because we were never told what it was. I mean, it's very simple. It's once you learn it, it's almost so simple. And I know this is something I wanted Mr. Taylor to discuss later, that is so simple that our um, life experiences sometimes cause us to miss it,
Mm.
cause us to miss it in a big way that we don't even do it. And I'm not trying to hype it or anything. It's just that when I say it, it's like, okay, we can end the stream because we're done. Like, start. You got to start
Okay.
before you can get to step two. You got to try step one. On one of my Facebook posts recently, I posted what step one was, and then I said, and step two is, and I said, well, did you start step one first? Why are we talking about step two? I can give you the 10 steps to a perfect body, and you look at step nine like, oh, I can't do step nine. I know you can't do step nine. You got to start
Mhm.
at step one, and then get to two, three, four, five, six, etc. But for me, education stopped me from step one. I was
Mm-hmm.
schooled and it never showed me what step one was, as simple as it is. And if we all could start that, at an early age, and for us now, I'm starting it for my posterity. Not that I don't want to enjoy it, but I know one thing that was said by a mentor of ours, Mr. Michael L. Dalco. He said in 2019, if you didn't come from a wealthy family, make sure that a wealthy family comes from you.
Mm.
And then we start talking about the number one secret to building wealth. And it's what we all want to do anyway, but we just don't know how to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to keep your money. You keep it. But see, the funny thing is we were never taught how to keep it. We think keeping it is holding it in our pocket or putting it under the mattress, or, better yet, putting it in the most dangerous place of all, a savings account.
Mm.
So my favorite book, The Richest Man in Babylon, starts off when the question is asked of the richest man in Babylon, how did you amass so much wealth? He
Mhm.
simply tells the gentleman, his friends asking him, that I asked the person who trained me and showed me, and when I did a job for him and in exchange I wanted to know the secret, he said that the secret is, he said, I found the road to wealth, the path to wealth, when I decided that a portion of everything that I earned was mine to keep, and
Mm.
so will you.
Mm.
We'll expound further on that. Over to you, Mr. Taylor.
I mean, like honestly, it's like we can end it right there because that truly is the key. It's I always say this as I get older and I grow in more wisdom and knowledge, and you understand how the Lord works. But the human mind is designed to create complexity. but the power is in simplicity. But because your mind wants to take over and make things so complicated, it can't believe that it's as simple as putting a little bit away for yourself first is what really brings you to the road to wealth. And, I didn't know this. I didn't come from a financially astute household. My mom was good with numbers, and, she always made sure we had food on the table and stuff. She always had a little bit stored away, you know what I'm saying? But it was never taught or passed down to really on the level that I understand now.
So,
And
so
I
your,
always,
so your mother had a cookie jar?
yeah, she had a cookie jar. Yeah,
Cookie jar.
brother, the cookie jar. Yeah,
Start where
that
you
was
need
our
to
savings
start.
account. And that was the savings account, man, with the cookie jar. You know what I'm saying? And but it wasn't saving for wealth. It was just saving for what we used to call a rainy day. But now we know we don't even save for rainy days. We save for sunny days, right? Because once again, we're trained to believe in a rainy day. Therefore, guess what we gonna get? A rainy day.
And
To
that
do
rainy
what?
day is going to deplete
And
that
it's going
account.
to deplete your account because that's what we believe. We've been taught to save for a rainy day. We haven't been taught to save for wealth. We've been taught to save for rainy days. So that's the knowledge we get. But what do wealthy people teach their children? No, you save for a sunny day. You save for an opportunity that comes your way. And then you have this nest egg to say, oh, I can invest now. And what does that investment do? Starts you on the road to wealth. That's what saving is truly for. Saving isn't for you to like keep it and hoard it. No, it's for an opportunity to eventually come your way one day because the universe is going to recognize, okay, this person understands my laws. So let
Mm,
me go present an opportunity.
mm,
Now the opportunity comes and boom, you have the cash to invest. And that's how it works. But we don't think it's as simple as that, but it truly is that simple, but it's so hard for our minds to comprehend that simplicity because it is so. We hear it all the time. It is. It's very simple to make money. It's very simple to create wealth, but it's not easy. But how you do it is very simple. Like we can show
yeah.
you how simple it is to make a residual income right now, but your brain won't let you believe that it's that easy because why? You've been trained to toil and labor.
So you said something in the very opening. One of you did, I think it was you, Donovan, where you said that quote is that you recognize, or the richest man in Babylon, he recognized that a portion of his income, his earned money, was his to keep. And when you said that, I just thought about a show we did probably last season where you guys talked about the fact that we are such consumers. We have such the consumer mindset. Hey,
Hmm.
Santonia, thanks for joining us. That we have such that consumer mindset that we don't realize that we are just taking money that we earn and handing it to someone else. And we have gotten really good at handing our money to everybody else. And, whether it's the nicer car, you're able to drive the nicer car, so you feel like you've accomplished something, but yet you're still just handing the money that you earned to someone else. And even when you go up a notch, you still feel like you did something, but because you can now hand your money to more people. But that's
Mm,
not mine to keep.
mm-mm.
Right.
That's not the concept. And so we've been programmed to pass it on, to be the distributor rather than the stakeholder. And
Right.
so the whole idea here is to shift the mindset away from that consumerism to recognize that, yeah, you still have to cover your bills, you still have to cover that your day-to-day expenses, but you have to also consider building for yourself, keeping for yourself, and think about that as a priority. And I struggle with it. I'm not even gonna lie. It's a mindset. You think every day, I get money now. I've got to pay all these people and do all this stuff, but you don't think about paying yourself first. I don't think still about paying myself first. And so, it's a process, and I'm glad that we're having these conversations because it kind of takes that knock on the head over and over and over again to kind of get it.
Mm,
Excuse excuse me. But I'm grateful for the conversation because it's forcing us all to really take a look at where we are right now. This whole corona situation is making a whole lot of people reevaluate things. I think the unemployment numbers are now 26 million. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And that's still underreported.
Right. Those are just the ones that have applied for
Yeah,
unemployment. What about
and
the
it
ones that
doesn't take
can
into
apply?
account it doesn't take into account those that can't, like your independent contractors. They can apply for unemployment,
Right.
but they're out of work right now. They
Yeah.
don't have a stream of income besides that skill or task that they had. So
Mm-hmm.
their income is also gone, but they don't have the ability because they didn't
Right.
pay unemployment insurance to receive now unemployment from the government. So these numbers are underreported. Plus the people that were already on unemployment before the crisis hit, and
Mm-hmm.
those that had rolled off of unemployment but still are not employed.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, they're looking at 13, 14% unemployment. We're more like 30 to 35%.
Mm.
So that's a lesson in numbers that, some people say, well, the numbers never lie. Well, it depends on who's doing the accounting.
Yeah.
If it's
Say
Enron's
that.
accountant doing the accounting, then yes, the numbers lie and they're not trustworthy. So first we have to make sure the numbers are trustworthy before we say that they don't lie, because that adage can still mislead you.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at, well, it was published by the Department of Labor. Yeah, but their models are still skewed. And if you do the right research, you'll see that their models are skewed and you understand why. But Queenie, you brought up 2 points that you brought up two things. Well, what you were talking about brought up two things that I wanted to address. And one reason we don't pay ourselves first is because we haven't written it down. We haven't written out a budget. We don't have a
Say
plan
that.
for our money. We don't know where our money's going. We're getting it and sending it out, being the middlemen, but not having control over the flow. Think about water in your house. There's a valve. When you turn it on, water flows, but it's regulated.
Mm-hmm.
If you open it all the way up, the water's gushing out. And if you're washing dishes, it's splashing everywhere. So you have to regulate that valve. Well, that's what a budget does. It allows you to regulate the valve.
Mm.
You write the budget, so you become the master of the budget, not the budget being the master of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that first line has to be me.
Mm.
I'm going to use my name. The first line of my budget is Team Yarbo. Why? Because it's me and my wife. So the first people that get paid, or the first person that's paid from our weekly or monthly income, is Team Yarbo. And then we can move on from there to pay. I'm going to just use from a movie, Con Ed, Ma Bell, those that
Mm-hmm.
live up top
Mm-hmm.
in the Northeast, they recognize those names. But for us here in Atlanta, Georgia Power,
Mm-hmm.
the water conservation, whatever the water company is,
Watershed.
the
Yeah.
water bill,
Mm-hmm.
right? Xfinity, Charter, AT&T, whatever you're using, those come after you pay yourself first. And then that'll help you regulate how and where your money is going. Like one thing that I see now, I'm paying entirely too much money for cable.
Mm-hmm.
So we have been researching this thing for about 18 months, but we haven't been seriously diligent.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're looking at it like, hold up, there's entirely too much funds going to entertainment
Mm-hmm.
that we can get from other sources.
Mm-hmm.
Entirely too much. So we're looking at that. The second thing, and see, I need to write down my notes when I'm talking to you. The second thing that came about as you were speaking was the number one is putting yourself on a budget so you see it, you write it down. And the second thing that you were talking about was God,
Consumerism.
consumerism. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That we have been trained in the accumulation of stuff. See, when some of these words
Mm.
go over people's head, and we were talking about wealth, me, you, and Mr. Taylor last week, and is there another word we can use to associate with that to really get through to people so they understand? Well, consumerism is the accumulation of stuff. That's not wealth. There is no wealth in having stuff. You can have a lot of stuff, but those are what we call depreciating items. A car depreciates, clothes depreciate, shoes depreciate. So having stuff is not having wealth, but that's what our culture, so to speak, has shown us that, well, if I look the part, then I feel better about myself and I am the part. But yet we go home busted, disgusted. And not only that, but time waits for no one. We wake up at 50, 55, 60 and realize, man, I have not prepared to not be trading my time for money. I have not prepared for a time such as this, but we have a way that you can start preparing now. And notice I said now, not let me think about it. No, you can see people have lost their income, their livelihoods because they didn't prepare. Dig the well before you need the water. Over to you, Mr. Taylor.
Kind of reiterate something you said about being the bill, and I want our audience to really ask themselves, why can't you put your name first on that line? A lot of times we'll put our name on there, but we won't honor our own selves.
Mm, mm,
We won't even honor our own families first. Look, we honor AT&T's family. We honor Georgia Power's family first. We honor Netflix. We honor all these other families before we honor ours.
Ooh, that's good.
Why? Why? Ask yourself that question. Like, why? And when are you going to stop? And when are you going to start honoring yourself and your family and your posterity? Why? There's a passage in the Bible, I don't know exactly where it's at, but it talks about the oxen is the first one that eats the cud. Why he's working, he's eating. The oxen is even getting the first. He's getting it before the farmer gets it. Why? Because he needs it first. This is why we find ourselves in this situation now, because we, and I think it goes back to something that's, tied to our history, but we were never honored as a people, period. Right? We were treated less than. So that runs in our DNA. Like, we don't believe we're worthy to be the first recipients of our own labor, off of our own labor. Right? That's our labor. That was my sweat equity. Why shouldn't I be the first one? Look, there's a group of people that take the first from you, honestly. It's called the Federal Reserve banking system. They're the first ones that reach in your pocket. Well, then after that, it should be you that reaches in your own pocket and pays yourself first. And I know it's a process. I know it's something that we have to train ourselves to do. It's like anything that's habitual. You know what I'm saying? It's that's why we say just start now, even if it's a couple dollars, right? They say at least minimum 10%, but that might scare some people right now. Oh man, 10%. But what's wrong with paying yourself 10% of your own money instead of giving 10% to somebody else? Why not let it stay in your house? Right? We talk about black dollars leaving our environment, right? Because we go buy some stuff. We call it something else. We call it 2 letters, you know what I'm saying? But because we so trained to go buy stuff. The black dollar leaves the black neighborhood very quickly. Right? So let's retrain ourselves to practice the art of honoring ourselves first.
And Mr. Taylor, man, one thing you said, man, it almost cut you off because it was so good. How there's a system that was put in place to lord over us to get the first part of our labor before we even get it. But when we employ a greater system, I'm thinking about the law of lift and thrust, right? Gravity is already put in place to govern us and keep us flat-footed on this earth. But when we employ a greater law, the law of lift and thrust, we escape the law of gravity. Well, that law of taxation, when we employ a system that allows us to escape the clutches of that taxation, our president, 45, he may not be very smart and wise in a lot of other dealings, but when asked about his taxes, they're like, why don't you pay income taxes? He said, you don't pay income taxes. And they're like, you're a crook. He's like, no, that makes me smart. That makes me intelligent. Why? He's employing a system. He's not the only one. I just use him because he's the most public figure right now that's looked at as being an imbecile. But somehow this man doesn't pay income taxes legally. legally doesn't pay income taxes. Well, how? Don't look at him and say, no, he needs to pay his fair share. No, I need to find out, how does he legally not pay taxes? Not loopholes. They're not loopholes. There are rules embedded in the tax code. When you know those, you can take advantage of those. And the system that we use, and there it is right there, Miss Queenie. We talked about step one, and then we looked at step two, and I was like, I don't know step three yet. It just literally just birthed on this stream. Step three. So let's go through it, family. Step one, and we talked about this before. Step one is simply paying yourself first, but not in a debt-based system. So you must acquire an asset. Paying yourself first in an appreciating asset. That's how you keep and grow your wealth. Step two is you need multiple streams of income. You need income coming in that's not tied to your labor always. Shared this with Mr. Taylor and Mrs. Brown. Multiple streams of income are necessary because one stream is to flow through you. Like we talked about, to live in this world, you have to pay bills. You have to pay for your electricity. You have to pay for your water. You have to pay for your cell bill. You have to pay for your gas to heat your home. You know, you have to pay, I shouldn't say you have to pay your car note, because we shouldn't be paying car notes. That's usury, interest. We shouldn't be paying things that have interest. That's why we want to build wealth, so we can be in position now just to swipe or just to simply pay. Sir, how will you be financing that? You just insulted me. I'm not financing it. I'm paying for it. I'm here to buy this vehicle. I'm here to buy this boat. I'm here to buy this home. I'm here to buy this land, not finance it. I'm not here to pay. I'm not here to use somebody else's money. I'm here to use my money. Now, there are wealth builders that we know that do use other people's money when it comes to real estate. That's an advanced level. That's 11th grade, 12th grade. We're here in first and second grade. So let's learn that first to keep our money. Number two, produce multiple streams of income. And then number three, take advantages of the tax code. Man, that's good. Back to you guys, man. Oh.
I want to kind of hit on that MSI, the multiple streams of income. Once again, we have this mindset that you say you want more income, you say you need more cash flow, but when opportunities come your way, you reject them. Everything, listen, ladies and gentlemen, everything can't be a scam that comes your way. Everything can't be out to rob you. It can't be that way. You have to realize, I guarantee you, if you just stop for a minute and ask, have you been asking for a better way? I guarantee you opportunities have been presented to you, but because you're trained to labor and work, you reject it. You reject an opportunity to create multiple streams of income. We know right now that one stream of income is not enough. But you can't work 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jobs. So you got to find different avenues, different ways. Some can be a trickle here, a trickle there, a stream here, one main gushing river over here. The average millionaire has 7 streams. Warren Buffett has over 100 different streams of income.
And so Mr. we Taylor, have to. Mr. Taylor, let me go ahead and jump in right now, because I hear the excuse popping up right now. Well, I don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
That is the lamest excuse, because all you have is time.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to dissect your lifestyle right now, we would be able to find 3 to 4 hours a day that you could use in the personal development of yourself and learning of a new system or several systems that could help generate income. But what the employee mindset has stamped in us is that, well, I need the income to come now. I don't have time to build for it to come.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be able to work my 40 hours and get paid. Well, that's putting a cap and a limit on you and your income. Mr. Taylor already said it. Why are you not valuing yourself? You have to value yourself to not use time as a constraint. That is all you have until it's gone, just like this hourglass here. Can you see it in the screen?
Yes.
Like sand through this hourglass. Once our sand runs out, we're out of time. But trust me, when our sand is running low on our lives, all we're looking at now is the time wasted. Don't waste the time. Redeem the time. Back to you, Mr. Taylor. Thanks for allowing me to jump in.
Oh yeah, we coming to that in, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on to Miss Queenie.
Wow. Wow. So to sum it up, it starts with honoring ourselves first. And God said that the gold and the silver were His, and we know that the system right now is failing, and that things are going to change very quickly, and that it's time for us to look at a new way, and that looks like putting yourself first and paying yourself first and creating multiple streams of income. And I call them avenues of revenue. I want it chasing me down 7 different ways. So yeah, I've taken good notes, guys, and I'm sure that our audience has too. I am grateful for this conversation because it opens my eyes to the severity of the moment. Things are happening fast right now, and we don't have time to waste. I'll be 50 in a few months. Imagine that. And
Don't
just
even
when you
look.
said that, we wake up 50 and we realize that we might not be prepared for what's to come. And that's true for a lot of us. You just don't think time is going to pass by as fast as it does, but it does. And so it's time up. Time's up for taking the time. Focus on taking care of you and your family and honoring yourself by paying yourself first. So thank you, guys. Do you have any last final thoughts before we shut it
Yeah, I
down?
want to put out a challenge to whoever may see this. We do have a system where people can begin to acquire an asset, and it's free to join. It's free to start. It's free to join. There's absolutely no reason for you not to do it. It's free. And you begin to acquire physical gold as an asset, and you can start as little as $7, right? Cup of coffee. Like you'll be so quick to go get some snacks. You'll stop at QT every day or something like that and grab a couple snacks, and I guarantee you say you don't have no money, but you look and you spend $10, $15 at QT. Well, that $10, $15 can turn into two 2/10 of a gram of gold, and who's to say what that could be in the future? Real quick, a quick story. Our CEO, he went through one of the Great Depressions over there in Germany, where you could buy a house for 5 grams of gold. 5 grams, because of the value of the gold was so much higher than the market at the time, that you were able to buy a house. And that's what happens when you put yourself in position with wealth, because this what's going on right now in the financial realm is not a financial crisis. It's a wealth transfer. And it happens all the time. Because why? It's a system. When we say you have to have a system, it's a system, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about the person. It's about the system that you're connected to that creates the residual income. Because when you go out into the world, everybody's trying to sell you a system to create income. It's just up to you to find out which system you resonate the best with. The reason why we truly feel that our system is the best is because we make money by keeping our money. I don't. Everybody else's system, you got to go do some type of labor or pour out of yourself. You got to give of yourself. In our system, you give to yourself. And when everybody gives to themselves, the system creates the cash flow. It's the system. A plus B puts out C. And if people can understand, allow the system to create your cash flow. Don't try to figure out, well, how does it work? How does it work? You don't know how your car engine works, but you put your key in, you step on the gas, and you drive. You don't sit there and ask all these questions. How does my car work? You just get in and go. Well, don't worry about how it works. Just get in and go. And how you go is you start saving for your family and yourself first. Over to you, Mr. Yarbo.
Man, Mr. Taylor, I love the way you explain that, man. I could listen to you break down that analogy, man, with the simplicity. A few things to close, man. Queenie hit it on the head. We're going to come through this. And that's what you keep hearing. We're in this together. We're separated, but together. And we're going to come through. Well, how will you come through this? Will you come through this as the same person you were when we entered? Are you just looking to return to the status quo? Are you looking to get better? Because I once heard a wise man say that if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards, because the world will pass you by. But coming through this, I want you to focus on one thing, and one thing on two sides, and that's foundations. We are going through a health crisis and a wealth crisis. So looking at foundations, the foundation of your health is what? Your immune system. So let's do the research on that and find out how to build up our immune system. If you're going to wear the mask, wear the gloves, wash your hands, do the sanitizer, make sure that you're first building your immune system as well, because the people that are succumbing to this crisis are the ones that are challenged in the immune system. That could be through no fault of their own, or most of the time it has come through the neglect that they had with their bodies. And now you see that neglect leads to a quicker exit if you happen to become attached to this crisis, right? And number two, the foundation of your financial plan, of your wealth building, I'm going to take it from the definition. Generational wealth is wealth that's passed down from one generation to another. And this is the part that we miss: through the accumulation of assets for a future to provide financial security. So the foundation of our ecosystems in our homes needs to be assets, and we have to accumulate them. Don't look for the windfall that I'm just going to get as much as I can and just hold it. No, we set up a systematic approach to accumulating assets and then building a path or a pipeline to a multiple streams of income by passing on that simple system of accumulating assets. Just like your health and your immune system is built on a foundation of every day eating the right foods, drinking enough water, getting enough nutrients and vitamins from whole foods, not the grocery store, but the actual product, the whole food, the whole fruit, not just the derivative, just the juice. That's a part of it, but you need the whole foods, whether raw or cooked, but it still needs to have its nutritional content. And for your wealth, for your posterity, for your future, you have to accumulate assets. Miss Queenie, thank you again for this platform and having myself and Dwayne. It is always a pleasure.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You just, something exploded on the inside of me when you said that. What you're really talking about is a wealth immune system, making
That's
your
good.
wealth and your legacy immune to the economy, immune
That's
to depression, immune to anything that could impact or affect us. It's really building immunity all the way around.
that's
So,
good.
I love these rich conversations. Well, thank you so much, family, for joining us yet again for another episode of Thank God It's Financial Freedom Fridays with Queenie and the KingsMan. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please feel free to leave us a comment. And also feel free to share this episode with your friends and family. Post it on your page, and be sure to join us again next week. We're excited about where we're headed, and we are going there together. So thank you again. And I'll be putting a link in the comments for you to have access to your ability to create your own free account to start paying yourself first. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.